Alright, so something really interesting, and honestly a little concerning depending on how you look at it, has been circulating in the crypto world. People are talking about a 34-page report from the US Treasury and claiming it quietly sets a precedent that your Bitcoin could be frozen or even seized. Now, before we jump straight into panic mode, we need to unpack what's actually happening here, because the truth is more nuanced but still very important. First, here's the reality most people don't realize. The US government already seizes Bitcoin all the time. This isn't new. Law enforcement agencies in the United States have been confiscating Bitcoin, connected to crimes for years, everything from darknet markets to hacking cases. In fact, the first known government seizure of Bitcoin happened back in 2013 when U.S. authorities listed Bitcoin as a seized asset in a federal forfeiture case. Wikipedia, and today the federal government is actually one of the largest holders of Bitcoin in the world, with hundreds of thousands of BTC accumulated largely through criminal seizures. Wikipedia, that's a huge detail most people miss. But here's where the conversation gets interesting. In 2025, the U.S. government established something called the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, essentially treating seized Bitcoin as a national reserve asset rather than immediately auctioning it off like they used to. Wikipedia, that changes the game, because it means the government is no longer just seizing Bitcoin temporarily, they're thinking about holding it strategically. Now, when reports or policy documents come out about digital assets, enforcement powers, or national security implications, some analysts interpret them as a sign that authorities want stronger tools to freeze or take control of crypto assets when necessary. And honestly, depending on how you view government power, that can feel like a big deal. But here's the key distinction that often gets lost in viral posts. There is a massive difference between seizing crypto linked to criminal activity, freezing assets through court orders, and the idea of the government arbitrarily taking Bitcoin from regular holders. Those are not the same thing legally. Right now, seizures typically require legal processes like forfeiture cases, sanctions enforcement, or criminal investigations tied to things like fraud, hacking, or terrorism financing. Wikipedia, that said. Crypto was originally created to reduce reliance on centralized authorities. So whenever governments publish policy papers about controlling or managing digital assets, the crypto community reacts fast, because it touches the core philosophy of Bitcoin. And there's another angle people are noticing. Governments around the world are becoming much more involved in Bitcoin, whether it's seizing it, holding it, or even considering using it as part of national reserves. Coinfomania that tells us something important. Bitcoin is no longer a fringe experiment. It's geopolitics now. So the real question isn't just, can the government seize Bitcoin? Because they already can in certain legal situations. The bigger question is, how far will governments go as crypto becomes part of the financial system? Will they try to regulate it heavily? Will they accumulate it like gold? Or will they eventually compete with it? And if you're a long-term Bitcoin holder, this is the kind of stuff you need to pay attention to, because the battle over who controls digital money is just getting started.